What's going on, everyone? So this was day one, Saturday the 5th of my first Mindbloom session, which is an appropriate name because your mind definitely blooms when you're using medicine like ketamine. It's definitely a pretty intense little adventure, and I just wanted to document this a teeny bit. I just wrapped, I believe, about an hour ago off my first session, so this is not necessarily what I wanted to do, like put a tripod and a camera and a mic on, but I feel it's important enough to let people know because you're kind of raw at this stage, and just share a bit about what I experienced in my journey. And this also helps me a bit because I can get what I experienced on the ketamine session off my chest a teeny bit, and hopefully that will help you guys out if you're dealing with anxiety or depression or kind of stuck in a rut. So Mindbloom is basically an at-home ketamine program, and this essentially is the kit they give you. And I'm not going to try to like do this whole Mindbloom trip, but it is what it is. And the reason I'm advocating them so much is because right now I'm in the comfort of my own home, on a bed, comfortable, not having to drive. And with a lot of ketamine therapy, you need to actually get in your car, have someone drive you. I can't be in a car right now because I just ended my session. So you're not supposed to drive basically until tomorrow, not operate any kind of heavy machinery, for example. So I'm not going to fly my drone. I'm not going to do anything right now because I am pretty zapped mentally and not really in a great place to be doing much, let alone walk. So, but ketamine, for those who aren't familiar, is a psychedelic, and it's used to treat depression and anxiety and PTSD, and a lot of people have been utilizing it. I didn't have a great experience when I went to IV clinics because they really had no idea about set and setting. And let me make sure this is okay. Yeah, okay. So again, forgive me, I'm using my Pocket 3 and trying to get the text somewhat dialed without spending too much energy on it because I just came off a ketamine session. So I want to surround myself with positive stuff and my kitty and my friends and nature and some warm tea, for example. But I want to share a little bit about this, just so you know. So they gave me a blood pressure cuff, so I took my blood pressure before I actually took the medicine. I had an eye mask, and really that's it. So I mean, the medicine, you could get it through a lozenge or a little injectable. I opted for the injectable because it's a little bit easier to me. It's like an insulin type syringe. So essentially, you take your blood pressure, make sure you're in a good place, and then have the mask ready, have your little ear pods or whatever it is, your headphones ready, free of distraction, in the comfort of your own home, and inject the medicine into your stomach. And probably within 10 minutes, your experience will start with ketamine. And what did I experience? I experienced not a ton of visuals, so you guys are aware, but a lot of deep reflection. And psychedelics can be scary. So for those who aren't familiar with the space, the psychedelic space or realm, whatever you want to say, it's definitely intense. It's definitely foreign, especially if you've never had psychedelic experience, but it's one of those things you have to be open, trust, and just kind of let go. So that's a big part of this. You can't, fight it. You have to kind of see what it brings up in your session and sit with it. For me personally, it brought up a lot of things like my imperfections and being too harsh and too intense in life and all the things in my past that I've done wrong. And that's really hard to have jammed up with an intense mirror for you to sit with for an hour, which seems like a lot longer. So for anyone who is familiar with psychedelics, a minute can seem like an hour and an hour can seem like a whole day. So it's one of those things where you just have to let go again and be open to the experience and understand the medicine, despite whatever you're dealing with, good or bad or intense or not or whatever it is, positive, negative, so to speak, the medicine and the ketamine is still actually working and doing its job. And for me, as I said, I dealt with a lot of things in this first session. It wasn't a ton of visuals, but it was a lot of deep reflection. And I just felt that a lot of the things that I've done wrong in life, and I kind of always beat myself up for things. I always beat myself up for things that I've done not the best way in my past. That just seems to always illuminate, and it's one of those things that I have to kind of go easy on with myself and let those things go, because I've done a lot of beautiful things that, you know, are also part of my life and my existence and make me who I am and make you who you are. So my past, for my example, I had a lot of issues with self-control ever since I was a little kid, and it's probably the lack of self-control has caused me to do a lot of harm to a lot of people I loved that I wish I never did to them. So whether it's doing something like hitting a girlfriend when you're a kid because you're insecure and stupid and not, you know, in a good place in your life, or whatever it is, maybe you're on drugs or doing something that isn't a healthy lifestyle that's causing you to just do things that you wouldn't normally do. But anything that you've done wrong in your past can kind of come up and be right in your face. And you have to understand that things do happen, and they happen for a reason, and that's for us to evolve and grow and move on from. So I pride myself on not hurting or harming anyone or doing harm to any animals or any persons. I don't want to do anything in my life to cause any harm to anyone, but that's easier said than done. Like for my example with my mom, who's older with dementia, in her care home, to advocate really well, sometimes you can't always be this nice, kind, lighthearted person. You got to be intense and kind of a jerk, and that's not who I really want to be. I want to be a light, loving type person, but it doesn't always work that way in this life. So I don't know, it's hard to not ramble a little bit, but the first experience, I thought after I got the injection, it was 50 milliliters, I believe. Actually, I know it was. And it's supposed to kind of onset within 1 to 3 minutes. A few minutes went by. I didn't really feel that there was a huge effect. And then probably within 10 minutes, it really started to kind of come on. And it wasn't, as I said, very visual, but it was definitely a ketamine experience and definitely intense in its own way. And I did my best whenever anything kind of negative or heavy came up to trust and let go and be loving to myself. And yeah, I mean, it's something that's not easy for sure. So for people who are thinking about ketamine treatment, it's not just injecting yourself or whatever it may be, or going to a clinic and getting an IV infusion or doing the lozenge. It's gonna be a real intense hour or two. And right now I'm pretty zapped, so it's not as if I can do a ton today other than kind of relax and ideally take in some nice vibes and some good music or some good food or nature, or just sit and meditate, whatever it may be. But I'm not going to go out grocery shopping to big crowds or to social media, for example. So this is a time where your brain actually is kind of ready to absorb new patterns and new ways of thinking. So I don't want to put myself in any kind of areas where negativity or reels or whatever it may be in your face and not doing right by me, where it may trigger you or you may get upset or whatever it may be. So the point of this is that it does take a lot of time and energy, and it's not just doing the session. It's going to take the rest of the day for me to kind of unwind from this session. And then tomorrow I also have to be, so tomorrow, let me try to talk. It's not easy to talk right now. So tomorrow I'll have to take, it easy as well. And I'll be good to drive and do things, but I also want to be very mindful of what I put myself up against. and to be gentle with yourself after these kinds of journeys, because you are susceptible to taking on new ways of thinking and new patterns. So do your best to stay in a really positive mindset, essentially. But it does take a lot of energy. Even this video right now is taking a lot of energy. But if you are considering ketamine as an option, again, even a friend of mine who has no psychedelic use was talking about being interested in it. But it can be very scary and it can be very intense, but you have to just trust that it is the medicine working and it's doing what it needs to do, and you have to trust it and let go. But it is scary and it is intense and it is a weird physical and mental feel and vibe. I mean, the sensations are very physical and real and also psychological and mental. So there's a lot that goes on. I mean, I could barely even move on my bed during the peak ketamine. So if there was a fire or something, so you have to have someone by you who's willing to watch you and kind of, sit and make sure you're safe. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a simple little thing. You pay the money and you get whatever it is, the medicine and the kit and the program. But it was really great that I had someone I can talk with who was my guider. And it was really nice that I had someone I could talk to on Zoom before. So even before the Zoom call today, I chatted with her on text, and it was really nice to have that integration and someone to talk to that gave you some guidance, because with the clinics, they gave you no guidance, they gave you no input, they gave you no intention, they gave you nothing other than giving you the actual IV of ketamine, and that's it, and basically kicked you onto the curb afterwards, and that's that. So Mindbloom has been way, way, way better in every regard than the clinics. So if anyone is considering, and this is not paid, this is just my personal feelings, 109,000%, is if you are considering ketamine treatment, again, I can't stress this enough, do something like Mindbloom where you can be in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to drive. You have actual people that are trained that will actually sit with you and talk about your intentions, and have actual playlists already lined up, because music is a huge part of this whole experience and this whole treatment. So they have playlists that are really beautiful with Wayne Dyers and all kinds of really awesome spoken words, all music, whatever it may be, binaural beats or whatever, just anything. So they have all of it laid out for you in a really nice structured way, where, as I said, with the IV clinic thing, they had none of that. It was essentially you go in, they give you the IV, and it was super cold and calloused, and this is complete opposite and way, way, way huge improvement. So this is the conservative way to even go about the ketamine treatment, in my opinion, and also the correct way, because they do take set and setting, which is a huge thing in the psychedelic realm, as anyone knows who has dealt with psychedelics, and that's a key part of the entire thing. So they stress that, and you're able to do that because you're in your own home. And if this is kind of a big ramble, I'm sorry, but I wanted to share at least something. Now, mind you, if you don't understand, you don't understand. This is an hour after coming out of a ketamine session, so I'm doing my best to say what I feel. And again, during the session for me, I had a lot of real raw emotions about the things that I've done wrong in life, which is really hard to look at when it's magnified in your face, because I know I've done a lot of good in my life as well, but there's a reason for that. And it's also part of the process of letting go some of those things that I beat myself up about from my past. So I hope this helps. Ketamine is definitely interesting, and if you are thinking about it, Mindbloom is 100,000% the better way to go than a clinic. And I can assure you, like, in my heart, that I'm saying that totally sincerely. No paying, no nothing. It's just the right way to do it, I promise. So that's it, guys. Love and light. Bye.